There's light inside every man that certain toxic partners systematically extinguish. I'm not talking about his confidence or his bank account, though those get destroyed, too. I'm talking about something deeper. That part of him that used to laugh genuinely, that got excited about simple things, that believed in possibilities. Some women don't just break hearts, they murder souls. And most men don't realize it's happening until that light is already gone. Let me explain what toxic partners do to the man inside, and why so many men emerge from these relationships as ghosts of who they used to be. Every man carries an inner child. And I don't mean this in some new age spiritual way. I mean the part of him that maintains wonder, creativity, playfulness, the essence of who he was before the world told him who to be. This inner child is what makes him dream about building something cool in the garage, what makes him laugh at dumb jokes, what makes him believe tomorrow could be amazing. It's not childish. It's the source of his life force. This inner child needs basic things to survive: acceptance, appreciation, space to exist without judgment. He needs to feel valued not just for what he produces, but for who he is. He needs moments of lightness, of play, of just being without performing. When these needs are met, men thrive. When they're systematically denied, something inside starts dying. I counsel men who've been through toxic relationships, and there's this look they all have: dead eyes. Even when they smile, nothing reaches their eyes anymore. They move through life mechanically, going through motions without feeling. These aren't depressed men. Depression implies feeling something. These are men whose ability to feel joy has been surgically removed by someone who claimed to love them. Here's how it starts. Some women enter relationships with an agenda to reshape, control, or dominate. Not all women. We're talking about a specific type with specific patterns. She identifies his sources of joy and systematically attacks them. His hobbies are childish. His friends are losers. His dreams are unrealistic. His excitement about anything is immature. The assault on joy begins immediately, but subtly. The constant criticism isn't random. It's targeted at his sources of life force. She doesn't just criticize his actions, she attacks his essence. Why are you so weird? You're such a child. No wonder people don't respect you. These aren't observations. They're precision strikes designed to make him doubt his fundamental worth as a human being. The emotional manipulation is sophisticated. She'll create scenarios where he can never win. She'll ask for his opinion, then rage when he gives it. She'll demand he open up emotionally, then mock him for being weak when he does. She'll insist on honesty, then punish him for truth. It's psychological warfare designed to break his sense of reality. The devaluation process is gradual but relentless. First, she'll mock the things that make him unique. His way of laughing is annoying. His interests are boring. His passions are stupid. Then, she moves to his core identity. He's not just doing something wrong. He is wrong. His very existence becomes the problem that needs solving. Humiliation becomes her primary tool. She'll embarrass him in front of friends, revealing private information, mocking his vulnerabilities. She'll belittle him in public, then claim it was just a joke when he objects. She'll compare him unfavorably to other men, especially in areas where she knows he's sensitive. The goal is to make him feel so small that he stops believing he deserves better. The psychological consequences are devastating. First goes his confidence. He stops trusting his judgment because she's convinced him it's always wrong. Then goes his self-esteem. He stops believing he has value because she's told him repeatedly he doesn't. Then goes his motivation. Why try when everything you do is wrong? Why dream when every dream gets mocked? The emotional numbness that follows isn't protection, it's death. He stops feeling because feeling hurts too much. He stops caring because caring leads to disappointment. He stops trying because trying leads to criticism. He becomes a walking corpse, functioning but not living, existing but not experiencing. Depression in these men looks different. It's not sadness, it's emptiness. They don't cry. They stare at walls. They don't feel hopeless. They feel nothing. They're not suicidal. They're already dead inside. The woman has succeeded in killing everything that made them vibrant while keeping the body functional enough to serve her needs. The reduced motivation affects everything. Career. Why excel when success doesn't bring joy? Fitness. Why improve a body that feels nothing? Friendships. Why connect when you have nothing left to give? Dreams. What dreams? The toxic partner has created a void where ambition used to live. Here's what's truly sick. The dependence she creates is intentional. She breaks him down while positioning herself as his only source of validation. She destroys his confidence, then offers crumbs of approval that he becomes desperate for. She isolates him from support systems, then becomes his only reality check. He's not staying because he loves her. He's staying because she's convinced him he's nothing without her. The narcissistic patterns are textbook. Everything is about her. His pain doesn't matter unless it affects her. His needs don't exist unless they align with hers. His feelings aren't valid unless they serve her narrative. She's the perpetual victim, even when she's clearly the aggressor. She rewrites history in real time, denying things she said minutes ago. Some women display genuinely psychopathic traits: complete absence of empathy, enjoyment of causing pain, masterful manipulation without remorse. They'll watch their partner suffering and feel nothing except perhaps satisfaction that their control is working. They'll deliberately trigger his trauma responses for entertainment. They'll push him to break down, then mock him for breaking. The cycle of idealization and devaluation is designed to create addiction. First, she love bombs him, making him feel like the most amazing man alive. Then, suddenly, without warning, he's worthless, then back to amazing, then back to worthless. His brain becomes addicted to the intermittent reinforcement, constantly chasing the high of her approval while drowning in the lows of her contempt. This isn't normal relationship conflict. This is systematic psychological destruction. She studies his weaknesses like a scientist, cataloging what hurts him most, what breaks him fastest, what keeps him coming back. She knows exactly which buttons to push to get which responses. It's not emotional, it's strategic. Men trapped in these dynamics often try to fix things, which makes everything worse. He thinks if he just loves her better, works harder, becomes what she wants, things will improve. But the goalposts keep moving because the game is rigged. She doesn't want him to succeed. She wants him to keep trying and failing. His effort is her fuel. The belief that he's at fault is carefully cultivated. She'll provoke him into reacting, then claim his reaction is the problem. She'll create chaos, then blame him for the instability. She'll break agreement, then accuse him of being controlling for expecting consistency. Eventually, he internalizes this narrative. He must be the problem. He must be broken. He must deserve this treatment. The warning signs are there early, but men often miss them in the love-bombing phase. The extreme jealousy disguised as passion. The boundary violations disguised as intimacy. The control disguised as caring. The criticism disguised as helping you improve. The isolation tactics disguised as wanting you all to myself. By the time the mask drops, he's already trauma bonded. Some women use their own trauma as manipulation tools. I'm like this because I was hurt before. If you really loved me, you'd understand. You're triggering my abandonment issues by wanting space. They weaponize psychology language to make their abuse seem like his responsibility to heal. He becomes not just a partner, but an unpaid therapist for someone actively harming him. The impossible standards create perpetual failure. He must read her mind, anticipate her moods, manage her emotions, fulfill her contradictory demands. He must be strong but vulnerable, successful but always available, independent but completely devoted. He must somehow exist in multiple states simultaneously. When he inevitably fails, it's evidence of his inadequacy. Men cannot fundamentally change these toxic partners. This isn't a communication issue or a compatibility problem. This is someone with a personality structure that requires destroying others to feel whole. You cannot love someone into developing empathy. You cannot sacrifice enough to fill their void. You cannot be good enough to stop their abuse. Trying to fight back makes things worse. She's better at this game because she has no boundaries, no empathy holding her back. She'll escalate beyond what any healthy person would consider. She'll use your children as weapons. She'll threaten suicide. She'll make false accusations. She'll destroy your reputation. She has nothing to lose because she feels nothing real. The control attempts become more desperate as he starts pulling away. She might fake pregnancy, threaten self-harm, suddenly become sweet again. She might promise to change, go to therapy, acknowledge her problems, but it's manipulation, not genuine change. She's not trying to save the relationship. She's trying to maintain control over her victim. Self-preservation becomes a matter of survival. This isn't about saving a relationship. It's about saving your life, not just your physical life, though some men are driven to suicide by these dynamics, but your inner life, your capacity for joy, your ability to feel your essential self. The man you were, could be, should be, he's dying, and she's the one killing him. Men must prioritize their well-being over any relationship. No partnership is worth the death of your inner child. No woman is worth becoming a hollow shell. No amount of love, real or imagined, justifies staying with someone who systematically destroys you. Your first responsibility is to yourself, to that light inside you that makes life worth living. The protection of your inner child isn't selfish. It's necessary. That part of you that still dreams, still hopes, still finds wonder in small things. Guard it fiercely. It's not immature or weak. It's the source of creativity, innovation, connection, and joy. Without it, you're just going through motions until death. With it, life has meaning regardless of circumstances. Leaving toxic relationships requires understanding you're not abandoning someone who needs you. You're escaping someone who's destroying you. The guilt you feel isn't real love. It's trauma bonding. The fear of being alone isn't intuition. It's program dependence. The belief that you can't do better isn't reality. It's her voice in your head. The distance required might be extreme. No contact isn't cruelty. It's self-defense. Blocking everywhere isn't immature. It's necessary. Refusing to engage isn't cold. It's survival. She'll use any opening to pull you back into the cycle. Every conversation is an opportunity for manipulation. Every moment of weakness is an entry point for control. The long-term impact of staying is catastrophic. I see men in their 50s who stayed too long in their shells. They can't feel joy even years after leaving. They can't trust even in healthy relationships. They can't dream because dreaming was beaten out of them. They exist, but they don't live. The damage can be permanent if you wait too long to escape. Your emotional health determines everything else in life. When your inner child is dead, success means nothing. Money without joy is just numbers. Achievement without satisfaction is just motion. Relationships without feeling are just arrangements. You can have everything externally and nothing internally. That's not success. That's sophisticated failure. Career impacts are severe. Men whose inner child has been killed often plateau professionally. They lose the creative spark that drives innovation. They lose the passion that inspires others. They lose the confidence that enables leadership. They become corporate zombies doing minimum required, counting days until retirement from a life they're not even living. Personal achievements become meaningless. He might still go to the gym, but there's no satisfaction in progress. He might still pursue hobbies, but they're mechanical, joyless. He might still set goals, but achieving them brings no fulfillment. The reward center of his brain has been disconnected. Success and failure feel identical, empty. Relationships with children suffer tremendously. Kids need a father who's emotionally present, not just physically there. They need his joy, his playfulness, his full engagement. But when his inner child is dead, he can't connect with theirs. He becomes the distant dad, the checked-out father, the man who provides but doesn't truly participate. Other relationships atrophy. Friendships require emotional energy he doesn't have. Family connections feel like obligations. New romantic possibilities seem like threats. He isolates not because he wants to, but because connection requires something inside him that no longer exists. The toxic partner has made him radioactive to his own life. The sooner men disengage, the better their chances of recovery. Every day in a toxic relationship is more damage to repair. Every interaction is another wound. Every cycle of abuse is deeper programming to overcome. The math is simple. The longer you stay, the less of you remains to save. But here's the hope. The inner child, while damaged, is remarkably resilient if you get out in time. Men who leave toxic relationships and do the work to heal can rediscover joy. It's not immediate, and it's not easy, but that light can reignite. The capacity for wonder, for play, for genuine laughter. It can return. Recovery requires recognizing the damage wasn't your fault. You didn't deserve the treatment. You weren't too sensitive or too weak. You were systematically attacked by someone who knew exactly what they were doing. Understanding this isn't about becoming a victim. It's about accurate assessment so healing can begin. The signs to recognize are clear once you know them. Constant criticism of your essence, not just actions. Humiliation as communication style. Joy being treated as threat. Your emotions dismissed while hers dominate. Your needs ignored while hers multiply. Your boundaries violated while hers are sacred. Your pain minimized while hers is centered. The manipulative behaviors follow patterns. gaslighting, denying your reality, projection, accusing you of what she does, triangulation, using others against you, love bombing, overwhelming affection to hook you, devaluation, systematic destruction of worth, discard, throwing you away when supply runs dry, hoovering, sucking you back when you try to leave. Controlling behaviors escalate predictably. First, she controls your time, then your friendships, then your family connections, then your thoughts, then your feelings, then your perception of reality itself. Each level of control enables the next. By the end, you don't even know what's real anymore. The narcissistic traits are consistent. Lack of genuine empathy. She can't actually feel your pain. Constant need for admiration. You exist to feed her ego. Entitlement. She deserves everything. Owes nothing. Exploitation. You're a resource, not a person. Arrogance. She's always right. You're always wrong. Envy. She resents anything good in your life that doesn't center her. Gaslighting. Denying your reality. Projection. Accusing you of what she does. Triangulation. Using others against you. Love bombing. Overwhelming affection to hook you. Devaluation. Systematic destruction of worth. Discard. Throwing you away when supply runs dry. Hoovering. Sucking you back when you try to leave. Controlling behaviors escalate predictably. First, she controls your time, then your friendships, then your family connections, then your thoughts, then your feelings, then your perception of reality itself. Each level of control enables the next. By the end, you don't even know what's real anymore. The narcissistic traits are consistent. Lack of genuine empathy. She can't actually feel your pain. Constant need for admiration. You exist to feed her ego. Entitlement. She deserves everything. Owes nothing. Exploitation. You're a resource, not a person. Arrogance. She's always right. You're always wrong. Envy. She resents anything good in your life that doesn't center her. Psychopathic behaviors are harder to spot, but devastating. The calculated cruelty hurting you strategically, not emotionally. The absence of remorse. No genuine apology ever comes. The pathological lying, deception as default mode, the parasitic lifestyle, draining your resources without reciprocation, the emotional poverty, mimicking feelings she doesn't have. Awareness alone isn't enough. Action is required. Recognizing toxic patterns means nothing if you don't act on that recognition. Knowledge without action is just sophisticated suffering. You can understand completely what's happening and still die inside if you don't leave. The protection strategies are straightforward but difficult. Physical separation. Get away and stay away. Emotional boundaries. Don't engage with manipulation. Mental clarity. Write down what happened to counter gaslighting. Social support. Reconnect with people who knew you before. Professional help. Therapy specifically for abuse recovery. Some men worry about being seen as weak for being affected by a woman's behavior. This isn't weakness. It's human. Psychological abuse is real abuse. Emotional wounds are real wounds. Mental damage is real damage. Anyone who judges you for being hurt by systematic psychological torture has never experienced it. The rebuilding process is slow but possible. First, safety, ensuring no contact or limited controlled contact. Then, stabilization, getting basic life functioning again. Then, grief, mourning who you were and who you thought she was. Then anger, feeling the rage that was suppressed. Then integration, understanding the experience without being defined by it. Finding yourself again requires rediscovering what brought you joy before her. What did you love that she mocked? What excited you that she killed? What made you laugh that she criticized? These aren't silly pursuits. They're resurrection tools. Every reclaimed joy is a piece of your inner child coming back to life. The creative pursuits you abandoned need revisiting. That music you stopped playing, that art you stopped making, that writing you stopped doing, that building you stopped creating. She convinced you these were worthless, but they were actually expressions of your life force. Reclaiming them is reclaiming yourself. Male friendships become crucial for recovery. Other men who understand, who've been through similar experiences, who can validate your reality. Men who knew you before and can remind you who you really are. Men who can call out manipulation and support your boundaries. These connections aren't optional. They're essential. The relationship with your children, if you have them, needs conscious repair. They've watched you die inside. They've absorbed the tension, the criticism, the slow assassination of their father's spirit. Showing them your recovery, your return to life, your reclaimed joy. This teaches them resilience and shows them what's possible. New relationships require extreme caution. The toxic partner has installed programming that attracts similar dynamics. You're now primed to accept treatment you once would have rejected. Your normal meter is broken. Your boundary detection is damaged. Dating too soon often means repeating patterns. The healing timeline is longer than anyone wants to admit. We're not talking weeks or months. Real recovery from systematic psychological abuse takes years, not years of suffering. Years of gradually rediscovering what it means to be genuinely alive. Each year gets better if you're doing the work, but rushing guarantees repetition. Some damage might be permanent, and that needs acknowledgement. Parts of your innocence are gone forever. Certain trust can't be fully rebuilt. Some experiences have left scars that won't disappear. This isn't defeatism. It's realistic assessment that allows you to work with what remains rather than chase what's lost. The wisdom gained from surviving toxic relationships is profound. You now recognize manipulation immediately. You understand boundaries viscerally. You know your worth isn't negotiable. You've learned that love without respect is destruction. These lessons paid for in pain become your armor against future harm. The obligation to share your story isn't about victimhood. It's about warning others. Men need to hear what you've experienced. They need recognition of patterns they're living. They need permission to prioritize themselves. They need proof that survival and recovery are possible. Your story might save someone's inner child. The ripple effects of toxic relationships extend beyond the primary victim. Your parents watch their son disappear. Your siblings lose their brother to someone's manipulation. Your friends witness your slow death and feel helpless. Everyone who loves you suffers watching you suffer. Leaving isn't just for you. It's for everyone who actually cares about you. The financial aspects can't be ignored. Toxic partners often create financial dependence or drain resources systematically. The cost of leaving might be high, but the cost of staying is everything. Money can be remade. Careers can be rebuilt. Assets can be reacquired. Your inner child, once completely dead, might never resurrect. The legal system often fails to recognize psychological abuse. There's no bruise to photograph, no broken bone to X-ray. The wounds are invisible but devastating. Document everything anyway. Keep records, save texts, record conversations where legal, not for revenge, but for reality checking when she tries to gaslight you later. The social dynamics around toxic relationships favor the abuser. She's often charming publicly while devastating privately. People see her performance, not her true nature. They might not believe you. They might take her side. This social isolation is part of the control mechanism. Don't let potential judgment keep you trapped. The recovery community for men is growing, but still inadequate. Most resources assume men are abusers, not victims. Most therapists don't understand female-perpetrated psychological abuse. Most support groups focus on women's experiences. Finding appropriate help requires persistence, but it exists and it's worth finding. The masculine identity often conflicts with admitting victimization. Real men are supposed to be strong, invulnerable, unaffected. But real strength is recognizing when you're being destroyed and taking action to save yourself. Real courage is leaving despite fear. Real masculinity includes protecting your inner child from anyone who would kill it. The biological factors can't be ignored. Men are often physically stronger, but psychologically more vulnerable to certain manipulations. The protective instinct gets weaponized against us. The provider role becomes a trap. The desire to fix problems becomes enabling of abuse. Understanding these vulnerabilities isn't weakness. It's wisdom. The cultural narratives around relationships need challenging. Happy wife, happy life becomes prison when she's incapable of happiness. Never give up on love becomes death sentence with toxic partners. Real men stay, and work it out becomes enabling of abuse. These narratives serve abusers, not healthy relationships. The spiritual damage is real. Whether you're religious or not, something fundamental about existence gets wounded. The basic trust in life gets shattered. The belief that effort brings reward gets broken. The faith in love gets destroyed. Rebuilding this spiritual foundation is part of recovery that therapy alone can't address. The physical health impacts are measurable. Chronic stress destroys bodies. Cortisol flooding causes systemic damage. Sleep deprivation accumulates. Appetite disruption affects nutrition. Exercise motivation disappears. The toxic relationship literally kills you slowly physically as well as psychologically. The cognitive impacts affect decision long term. After gaslighting, you doubt your judgment. After constant criticism, you second-guesses everything. After manipulation, you can't trust your instincts. Rebuilding cognitive confidence requires conscious practice and often professional help. Some men discover they were targeted specifically because of their qualities. Empathetic men attract emotional vampires. Successful men attract resource extractors. Kind men attract those who see kindness as weakness. Your best qualities were used against you. This isn't reason to become bitter. It's reason to become wise. The prevention strategies for future relationships are learnable. Recognize love bombing as manipulation, not romance. See boundary violations as red flags, not passion. Understand criticism of essence versus behavior. Know that healthy people don't need to destroy others to feel whole. These patterns, once learned, become impossible to unsee. The recovery milestones are worth celebrating. First genuine laugh. First day without thinking of her. First decision made without fear. First boundary successfully held. First moment of actual joy. These aren't small victories. They're resurrection moments. Your inner child is fighting to live. The support network building is essential work. Therapist who understands. Friends who believe you. Family who support without judgment. Online communities of survivors. Books that validate experiences. Podcasts that provide framework. You're not alone, even when it feels like it. The purpose beyond pain eventually emerges. Many men become advocates, counselors, writers, speakers. They transform their pain into purpose. They use their experience to help others. The wound becomes wisdom. The trauma becomes teaching. The death becomes rebirth into someone stronger. The false hope of reconciliation needs addressing. She might apologize, promise change, seek therapy, don't believe it. Personality disorders don't fundamentally change. Temporary behavior modification isn't transformation. The cycle will repeat, usually worse. Second chances with toxic people are just second wounds. The grief process is complex because you're mourning multiple losses. The person you thought she was, the future you imagined together, the man you were before, the time lost, the innocence destroyed. Each aspect needs its own grieving process. Rushing through grief guarantees incomplete healing. The anger phase is necessary but dangerous. Rage at her for what she did. Rage at yourself for allowing it. Rage at others for not seeing it. Rage at the system that enabled it. This anger is fuel for change if channeled properly. Poison if held too long. Use it to propel forward, not to stay stuck. The forgiveness question is complicated. Forgiving her isn't required for healing. Forgiving yourself is absolutely necessary. You did the best you could with what you knew. You stayed because you're capable of love, not because you're weak. You tried because you're good, not because you're stupid. The rediscovery of play is a crucial indicator of healing. When you can be silly again. When you can laugh at nothing. When you can engage in pointless fun. When you can create without purpose. When you can exist without performing. These moments signal your inner child's return. The relationship with yourself becomes primary focus. How you talk to yourself, how you treat yourself, how you protect yourself, how you nurture yourself. This isn't selfishness. It's foundation. You cannot give what you don't have. You cannot love from emptiness. The boundaries education most men need is extensive physical boundaries. Who has access to your space? Emotional boundaries. Who has access to your feelings? Mental boundaries. Who has influence on your thoughts? Spiritual boundaries. Who affects your core being? Each boundary needs conscious construction. The final message is this. Your inner child is sacred. That part of you that maintains wonder, creativity, joy, and hope. It's not weakness to be eliminated, but strength to be protected. Anyone who attacks your essence, who mocks your joy, who systematically destroys your spirit, is not someone who loves you, regardless of what they claim. If you're in a toxic relationship right now, start planning your exit. If you've recently left one, stay strong and maintain no contact. If you're recovering from one, be patient with yourself. If you've healed from one, share your story to help others. The man inside you, the real you, deserves to live, to thrive, to experience joy. I want to hear from you. How did toxic relationships affect your inner self? What died inside you? What came back to life after leaving? What would you tell men currently trapped in these dynamics? Share your experiences in the comments. Your story might be the recognition someone needs to save themselves. Because every man deserves to maintain that light inside, that capacity for joy, that inner child that makes life worth living.